everyone. My name is Em, and I live with my wife, Nico, on our little permaculture homestead called Firebird Ridge. And we live in a 28-foot travel trailer year-round in upstate New York, where it often gets 20 below zero. How do we do that? Well, stick around, and I will tell you all about it. But today, I'm here for a totally another reason. Why are we standing in my bathroom? Ew. It's because I've got exciting news. Our composting toilet system used to look like this. Now it looks like this. Whoosh! Sound effects added by me, of course. How did we do this? Well, it was actually magic. You're not capable of doing this. Just kidding. It cost us about less than $100, I think, and it took us about 3 days of really hard, backbreaking, sweaty labor. And you can take longer, and then it won't be so hard and backbreaking. But anyway, stick around, and I will tell you step by step how we did this.
We're building a flushable composting toilet, which I think is extremely exciting. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run our RV sewer hose from the holding tank into a big blue poly barrel. And from there, in the bottom of the barrel, there's going to be a kind of a brown filter that is going to filter out all the solids, which are going to stay in there and get composted by worms. And then the liquids are going to go out the bottom and into a long trench filled with wood chips. And then that's going to allow the plants on the ridge to soak up the nutrients. We've got a bunch of, what do you call them? They're sumac trees, and they love nitrogen. So the sumac trees shade us in the summertime, and so we're going to give them lots of great nutrients, so they're going to grow big and shady, even more shady for next year. And so we're going to go through the steps of how exactly we're going to put this all together. So
what are we doing right now?
well, we are digging a 14-inch trench so that we can bury the French drain, the flexible corrugated French drain tubing. And once we get the trench dug, we're digging the trench in a kind of a snake pattern so that it'll go through all these trees here and add nutrients to the roots of the trees. And 14 inches is a really good depth for that. 14 inches to 2 feet is really good for that. So anyway, we're going to get 14 inches deep. We're going to put our flexible corrugated French drain pipe down in here. And then once we get it in the bottom, we're going to cover it. We're going to fill in this trench with wood chips. And the reason we're using wood chips, aged wood chips, not hardwood or stuff that doesn't break down quickly, but easily break downable, like, pine and stuff like that. The reason we're doing wood chips is because it acts like a biofilter, and it filters out any odors that might rise to the surface. So then you don't get any odors at all from your system. So we happen to have some friends that have been collecting wood chips for years, and they don't know why they were collecting them. So we're going to go get them for free. In fact, most of the things we've done here, we've done through sweat equity. And we bought some things. We bought the French drain. We bought some PVC connections to connect to our barrel. We got a blue poly barrel for free from a friend of mine because I helped him do some stuff. So he had a friend who had these blue poly barrels, and so he brought me a poly barrel that he cut the lid off of very nicely. And so I got that for free, well, for helping. And so that is this portion of the project, trenching and burying the French drain. Okay, so we got our trench all dug, and at the bottom of the trench, we're putting a layer of rock, and that's to help drainage and also to keep dirt from infiltrating the holes in our French drain. Now, we have very rocky property, so we were able to collect these rocks right here on the property. But you might have to buy or find gravel somewhere if you don't have rocks on your property.
What is this?
This is a PVC fitting that is going, one side's going on the inside of the barrel and the other side's going on the outside of the barrel. Then we're going to, oops, I think I got that reversed. I think it's like this. We're going to tighten this on here. And we will get a wrench later and get that nice and snug, but then we've got a short piece of 3-inch PVC pipe. You can just get 2 feet of it at the home store. So I just got 2 feet of it. You don't have to buy like 10 feet. Cut off a little piece, and the reason I did that is because this is going to be where the sewer pipe is going to drain into the barrel. And I didn't want it to drain up against the edge like this. I wanted to give it a little space to drain more in the middle. So that's just like a spacer. So then the sewer hose from the trailer is going to come and it's going to hook up to this. And we're going to caulk and silicone all the connections so there won't be any fumes or any leakage or anything like that. So that's our next step. And then as you can see down the bottom, that's where this barrel is going to be full of earthworms, wood chips, and biomatter like shredded leaves and things like that. And that's going to act as a biofilter so that the solids and liquids will come in at the same time from the sewer hose through here down into the bin. It'll probably be like a third full of biomatter and aged wood chips. And so then the liquids will drain through, and there's going to be a 1/4-inch piece of 1/4-inch hardware cloth over that as kind of a filter over the outlet. And then so the liquids will drain out there, and the solids will stay in the barrel and be eaten by the worms and become compost. And then the liquids will drain out down into the French drain that we're going to attach on the outside. And then the French drain will kind of meander through this grove of trees, and the nutrients from the effluent will feed the roots of the trees and make them nice and healthy and strong. And it will avoid polluting the groundwater, because a standard septic tank is dug like 5 feet deep, and that bypasses the roots of the plants that could benefit from the nutrients, and it goes straight into the groundwater. And that's why our groundwater is all polluted, because of septic tanks. So this way, it only goes down about 16 inches. I mean, the pipe is about 14 inches deep in the ground, and then the nutrients only soak down about 2 feet maximum, and they nourish all the plants in the area. Part of our setup is down at the bottom of this little tree, of this grove of trees. There's going to be a flower garden that's going to be a pollinator attractor in the spring, and it's going to bring all kinds of pollinators, not just bees, and that's going to help our vegetable garden. We wouldn't use the compost on the vegetable garden because we don't know if there's any kind of, sort of biohazard going on. There probably isn't, but we're just not going to take the chance, and we're just going to use it for flowers instead. Sorry, we're caulking the joint between the fitting and the barrel, and this is the inlet where the effluent is going to go into the barrel.
And we ended up with a little gap because the barrel is round and the fitting is not. So I just happened to have a rubber gasket lying around, a little round rubber gasket, so we crammed it in there to fill the gap. And then now I'm caulking right over it. And I'm not doing a very nice job because, hey, this is a sewer situation and I don't care. But it's going to be watertight and smell proof, which is the main thing.
What are you using for caulking?
This is a silicone caulking, and the reason I got this particular one is because it has a good combination of adhesion and waterproofing. So that was how I made my decision, because there were 10,000 choices at the store. And so I decided that the best combination of waterproof and adhesion was going to be my best bet. I am making a filter. It's a 1/4 inch welded hardware cloth. I'm making it to go down in the exit pipe for the effluent, and that is to keep the wood chips and the leaves and stuff in, because the wood chips and the leaves are going to be the biofilter along with the earthworms. And like this will allow the earthworms to go in and out if they want to, but they once this system gets going, the earthworms will not leave, because it's like earthworm heaven in there. So but they can go out if they want to. So like in the wintertime, if it gets really cold, and I'm going to try and insulate this so that it won't freeze, but if it gets really cold, the earthworms can just exit through here and find a nice warm place in the earth to hibernate, and then they'll come back in the spring, because, you know, it's a free buffet. So this, I'm just jamming this into the hole, and the sharp edges will keep it in place. I'm not going to do anything special to keep it in there. Okay, let's clean up my joint so that it's nice and clean to receive the corrugated pipe. This is going to hook onto the French drain that we're getting, which is perforated, but this is not perforated because we want to carry the effluent away from the house a bit before it starts to drain. And I'm going to just put this on and caulk it the same way we did the top. We're going to put some caulk around the inside, caulk around here, stuff it on, and caulk the joint. And this piece of hardware right here is the exact same thing that we have at the top. So we put it on the exact same way. We put one side into the inside, the other piece on the outside, screwed it down tight, and then caulked around it. Kind of squeezing upward to sort of force it into the little void in the joint. We're not using pipe cement because I didn't want to buy a whole thing of pipe cement for the small amount that we're doing. So we put some caulk inside the joint and then shoved it together, and now I'm caulking around the place where it joins as well. Cleaning the dirt off the joint first so that we don't have an adhesion problem.
put some inside there. There's a little ledge in there that I put some caulk onto, and then I'm putting also some on the edge of the pipe to make sure that there are no gaps. And I'm going to stuff it in there till it's well seated. Okay, and then a little extra around the edge. Might be overkill, but better safe than smelly. All right, so we're putting our barrel into the hole that Mariah so intrepidly dug. We have made sure that the trenches that we made all flow downhill, and the way we did that is we poured water into them, and any place that the water pooled, we dug those out or propped up, you know, put more dirt in or took it out, whatever needed to be done, so that it would all go downhill. And that was all the way from the opening of the sewer in the camper to the end, the terminal end of the drainage system. So it's all flowing downhill. And so our barrel is now in place, and we will begin laying. This is a solid piece of pipe right here to get the effluent away from the house a little bit before it starts to drain. And we will begin connecting the perforated parts of the pipe and snaking them on down the slope around to the terminal end here. And at the terminal end, we're going to put there's a depression right there, which is good. And then we're going to, when we're done with filling all of the trench in with wood chips over the top of the French drain, then we're going to put the rest of our wood chips in the terminal end to become a big filter for anything that makes it all the way down there. So this piping that we got it's corrugated, and actually it's collapsed right now. This will stretch out to 8 feet. So what's cool about this is that it's flexible, and whoops. And we can, well, now that it's off, I'll show you. It's flexible, and it expands, and you can go around curves with it, which is what we need because we're doing kind of a curvy path down to the flower bed, and then to the terminal little well. So this is going to be 8 feet's worth, and each piece we got is 8 feet, and we will connect them all up. And then we'll have 50 feet. Okay, so we got our pipe all laid. It's, if you can look, if you see these little holes along the edge, that's where the effluent is going to leak out and soak into the subsoil where it will feed the plants. And it comes, this particular kind comes in 8-foot lengths. You can get it all in one piece. But we decided on 8-foot lengths, and it has a little fitting right here that you've got to push together. And little note to those who are going to do this: push them together before you stretch them out. Otherwise, it's really hard to get them stretched out. And they do this. This does stretch out to 8 feet. See, it's like an accordion, like so. And just make sure that you stretch it all the way out so you don't waste pipe, you know, and come up short. So yeah, this is our terminal end. And we are going to, after this, we're going to go get a load of wood chips from my in-laws. And we're going to bury this all in wood chips. Wood chips create like a biofilter that will filter out odors and absorb any excess fluids that don't sink into the ground. And there will be no smell, no flies, only much lush greenery in the spring and summer, and a beautiful flower garden right over there. the word out that we were looking for wood chips, and actually we needed compost. And these people, actually my in-laws, are like, wow, we have tons of compost, and we have a compost pile that's full of earthworms. We're also looking for earthworms. So we came over here to get the earthworms and the compost, and we found this pile of wood chips. So we asked them if we could have some of their wood chips, and they said, oh, what wood chips? They didn't even remember that they had them. So here's the deal. If you permaculture is about saving the earth and everything, but to save the earth, you have to stop buying stuff. So ask around. You never know. Go on Craigslist. Go on FreeCycle. Ask around on to your friends. If you need manure, go to a horse farm. They don't know what to do with all the manure. Network. Okay, that's what it's all about. Don't buy anything. We are collecting aged wood chips to put in the trench that we dug to put our drain hose in for the flush composting toilet system we're building. The aged wood chips will help. Well, they're full of soil life for one thing, which is good for composting the effluent that's going to come out of the tube. And these white deposits here are mycelium colonies, which are going to these ones right here, really going to jumpstart the decomposition of the effluent that comes through the pipe.
Does this same stuff go in the barrel?
Yes, some of this is going to go in the barrel as well.
And
along
this,
with a whole bunch of earthworms.
which we've been finding in these wood chips.
Yeah, the wood chips are actually quite well populated with earthworms. So we're getting 2-in-1, earthworms and aged wood chips. Now you want to use wood chips that are not going to be like super preservy. Like, you don't want cedar or teak or anything that is rot resistant. You want just regular hardwood, or preferably even softwood like pine. You can use maple, but nothing that is rot resistant. Essentially, you want it to break down eventually. Okay, so as you can see, I've got our water is actually flowing into the bucket, and it's going out the bottom. Right now it's just wash water, but soon it'll be, effluent. And around the edge, you see this white stuff. I put some perlite around the edge to help insulate it against winter. You could also build a box and put rigid insulation in it, or you could do a number of things to insulate it. And this is not really sufficient, but I'm also going to insulate it with straw bales later to keep it warm. And I might even end up putting in a little heating pad or something to keep it from freezing. Now I'm going to be putting in some wood chips. And I got the juicy wood chips. They have mycelium growing all in them. That's like mushroom thread, sort of. And that means that these are full of soil life that are going to break down any kind of nutrient that gets put in here. Also, we're later going to be collecting up a bunch of earthworms and throwing them in there, and they're going to multiply very fast with all the nutrients that they're going to be receiving. So, and this is part of our biofilter that's going to foster soil life and keep down smells and help the breakdown process, and also filter the solids away from the fluids, because the fluids are going to go out into our kind of leach field that we've created with the trenches, and the solids are going to stay in here and be composted by worms and other soil life. And we'll be putting in some more. Probably by the time I'm done, it'll be about 1/3 full of partially composted leaves and aged wood chips. We are cutting this piece of 4-inch polyiso rigid insulation to go on the lid of the barrel for 2 reasons. One is to create a tight seal so it's not smelly, and the other is to help insulate it against freezing temperatures. And so I measured it. I drew a circle around it based on the lid, and then cut out kind of a rough circle, and now I'm just refining it so that it'll fit inside the top of the barrel perfectly, so that it'll be a nice tight fit. Okay, so we're done. That didn't take long. So here's what we did. This is our beautiful trailer up here, and we ran the sewer hose. We trenched the sewer hose in underneath the trailer, making sure that it was downhill all the way to this blue poly barrel. Oh, right there. Can you see that? The blue poly barrel.
There.
Okay.
Cool.
So it comes in the top, right up there, and it's going to have the lid to the barrel is going to have a thick layer of insulation. It's going to fit in there real tightly, so there won't be any smells escaping. And so the pipe goes into the barrel and dumps the effluent in there, and the solids stay in there because of the green filter, the brown filter, which is wood chips and partially composted leaves and earthworms and other soil life. Is going to retain the solids, and then the liquids are going to run out the bottom of the barrel. It's covered up now, but the outlet is at the bottom, and there's a PVC fitting right there with a filter in it. It's a 1/4 inch piece of, what do you call that stuff? Welded
Hardware cloth.
hardware cloth, yes, welded hardware cloth to keep the wood chips and such inside the barrel. And then the fluids run out of that fitting, and you can see that dark line coming around here. That is our trench. The trench is about 16 inches deep. The pipe is about 4 inches wide. So that leaves us about a foot of dirt over the, not dirt, but like a foot of ground over the top of it. And we ran that all down, and it has to be downhill all the way. So we checked with water to make sure, we poured water in to make sure that the water made it all the way to the end of the trench. So it's all downhill. And we brought it down the ridge and out here a little bit, because here's where our flower garden is going to be in the spring. We're going to have crazy profusion of beautiful pollen producing, pollinator attracting flowers down here. They're going to be fed by the effluent from our system. And then the trench goes over here into a depression, so that if there's any excess fluids, it's going to end up in the trench covered by wood chips. And the wood chips act as a filter, not only in the barrel, but also in the system out here on the ground, because it filters out any smells, keeps flies away. There's not going to be any digging or anything like that, because it's all going to be contained. The tube that goes through here is a flexible corrugated French drain, so it's got holes all in it. So it just very slowly leaks out into the ground, and the depth that it's at is just perfect for the roots of the trees and other plants to suck up the nutrients. And this is how we're dealing with our own and if you also want to deal with your own then you should visit us at on Facebook at Firebird Ridge Education for Sustainable Homesteading, and stay tuned, because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff like this. And one last word. I couldn't have done this without the help of Anna Eady, who wrote a book called Green Light at the End of the Tunnel. Everybody should have this book. If you're interested at all in permaculture, that's the book to have. I guarantee you're going to get a ton of value out of it. I know I have. And this system actually is based on a system that she's had running for over 35 years. It works perfectly. So see us at Firebird Ridge.